call, Sherry. Here.
Rick Knotts is excused. Ashley Pasquale.
Here.
Robert Smith is excused. Chuck Vaughn.
Here.
Scott Welty.
Here. Here.
Mark Zeef.
Here. Here.
Lauren Vetter.
Here.
And Councilmember Michelle Lynn is excused.
Having problems with my button here. All right, time for call the public. If anybody would like to step up and address anything. No. All right, moving on. Approval of minutes, January 28th, 2019 minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on to communications, announcements, staff report. Mr. King.
Thank you. End of the season youth basketball party will be held at the Aquatic Center on March 2nd. Our youth spring break camp will be held at Starline School from March 11th through the 15th. Registration for that camp opened today, and over 40 registrations already this morning or throughout the day today for that camp. The Nova graduation will be held on March 1st, and immediately after graduation, all the participants will have a swim party, and there'll be a little over 600 kids participated in that program, and we'll then celebrate at the Aquatic Center afterwards. During spring break, which is March 11th through the 15th, the pool will be open for open swim Monday through Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. A couple of the upcoming events at the community center. The CCR Tribute Band will be tomorrow, February 26th. The Lake Havasu Police Department sponsors the Night Out Neighborhood Watch event on February 27th. Again, the Nova graduation is March 1st. There's an Art Guild Spring Show, March 8th through the 10th. There's a Bob Seeger Tribute Band, will be March 14th. The Havasu Stitchers Quilt Show is March 16th. Western Welcome Bunko will be held on March 18th. The Lake Havasu Fire Department sponsored Weather Spotter class will be on March 19th. The Arizona Collectible and Firearm Show, March 23rd and 24th. And the Home Show, March 29th and 31st. Some things going on in the parks. The Chili Cook-Off will be held at London Bridge Beach on March 2nd. The annual Havasu Deuces Car Show will be held on the Rotary Park Ball Fields March 2nd. The Lake Havasu Pickleball Association will hold a tournament at Dick Samp Park in the pickleball courts on March 8th through the 10th. Extreme Machines will be having an event on the Parcel and McCullough Aquario on March 9th. The Renaissance Fair will be held at Sarah Park Rodeo Grounds March 15th through the 17th. And the Dunham Magical Night of Music will be held at the Parcel of McCullough Aquario on March 22nd. And an International Scooter Association qualifier will be held at Rotary Park Skate Park on March 23rd. That is, updates my report. With that, I'll take any questions.
One quick question. The Extreme Machines thing on March 9th, is that just going to be at the park, or is that also all of McCullough? Do you know?
They take up quite a bit of McCullough as well.
Okay.
Mr. Vaughn?
What is the cost for the spring thing? You said you got 45 entries already, applications? That start
For the spring break camp?
Yeah.
I'm actually am not positive on what that fee is for that week of camp.
Do they have for people that can't afford it that can apply?
Most definitely, we always have scholarships for our programs. Yes.
Okay.
And Chuck, I can get that for you by the end. Sherry's going to look it up.
you talking about the teen break camp? Oh, okay.
The- All right. Any other questions? Comments? All right. Moving on. Public hearings. First thing will be the discussion on the CIP update.
And again, these requests are sitting with our engineering department, fine-tuning the costs estimates, and those are due back to finance in mid-March. So really, we don't have a whole lot of an update. That's just something that we kind of keep on the running list for the agenda. I haven't heard yay or nay of any of them at this point. So.
Any questions?
Would you mind reviewing what the final requests were that were forwarded for that have to do with parks and recreation?
Sure. The ones that we forwarded on were the Sarah Park, the Aquatic Center facelift, the HVAC to the pool area, a solar thermal, basically holding tank for the solar, and then the pickleball courts at Dixon Park.
So is that separate from the island field renovations that we talked about the last meeting?
Yes, though that is a little bit of what was in the previous year's CIP. So that money would be coming from what was approved last year from council.
Okay. And then the baseball field at Sarah Park then is also from last year's budget?
That was basically taking that money from that project and shifting
it over there.
Correct, to the
Okay.
island. And possibly some renovation of some of our other, or update some of the other fields.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Is that a go project? Has that been approved?
No, it's just still some conversation through council and staff there.
Do you have a timeline of when that will be?
I do not. I have not been involved in those conversations as of yet.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Fongo.
Yeah, the ones that you forwarded, and you say it's engineers have it for final cost estimates and stuff like that. I hope they do better than what they had been doing when they estimated the cost of Sarah Park, which doubled. But even though we put those requests in and they have the costs, if it goes over the amount of money that we have, what did I say, already been, say, allocated to us? Have they allocated anything, or is this for the new 1920 budget?
Correct. This would be for the 1920 budget, so
1920.
nothing is allocated at this point.
Okay. So, but even though they see everything, it doesn't mean that everything will get approved.
Correct. Yeah, and they're looking at it long term too. Within the next 5 years, we really put those requests in, and so that the plan can continue to move forward. So that's what they're looking at, is those numbers and trying to project them out.
Right. So, and hopefully, to me, one of the smallest amount projects is those pickleball courts, because it was, from what the cost was last time, it's probably went up some, but not drastic.
Sure, it was one of the smaller dollar projects that we turned in as far as Parks and Recreation.
Right. Okay.
Anyone else? And public, I guess, anybody have anything to comment about this? Go ahead and state your name, although I know it, but.
Brett Miller, last name Miller. I just came to comment on the Sarah Park project. It may come as a shock to you, but I've kind of changed my tune on it. I'd rather not do it. I've run 2 tournaments in this town, soccer tournaments. We've hosted 30 teams and a little over 20 teams this last year. We're hoping to host, we've got an application in to host 90 teams in 2020. And when that application went in, I was approached by Bullhead City to move the tournament to their venue. And they've offered to line the fields, do everything for free, no field rentals, because they want it on their schedule. I declined politely. I'm real close with Tipton and those guys over there, and very politely declined. But I don't see the need for a $20 million field complex in Havasu, especially if you're going to go toe to toe with Bullhead City, and they're willing to basically give it up for free. They already give it up for the other 2 tournaments for free that they host. All the baseball tournaments are free. So I would rather see, and I presented this back in 2015, 2016, I think, to this body, the money be put into the school fields. We have enough grass area at the schools to support a 150 team tournament if we wanted to in Havasu, if we made the fields safe and playable. The city already pays to water the fields. All that water that goes on the fields is paid for by the city already. It's just some of the fields are pretty tore up. The grass isn't in real good condition. The ground isn't level. I know my kid goes to Jamaica. There's parts of the field that they're not allowed to use, but we still water them. So if we could fix the fields at the schools, do some renovation to the island ball field to make it a little bit wider so we can get a soccer field on there. I think that's all we need to, be able to stay on the state calendar and really grow the tournament in Havasu. So that's all I have to say. If you guys got any questions. All right, thanks.
I think we have a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Mr.
Go,
Vaughn.
go ahead, Mr. Fun.
How many actual soccer fields do we have compared to Bullhead City's complex?
Bullhead City, so they've just got like kind of a big flat area of grass they can configure pretty much any way they want. But at full build out with the full size soccer fields, they can get 14 fields.
And how many do we have?
In Havasu, full size fields, and this is including the high school, 4. And that's including building, when we do our tournament, we do a field inside the softball fields at Rotary Park. So, and that, when I say full-size fields, that's 120 yards by 75 yards. That's usually what a tournament demands. A football field, an American football field, is the right length, but it's only 53 yards wide. And that's why I was saying if we can make the island ball field a little wider, that would get us another big field there. The high school has 2 fields, and you can fit another field at Jamaica on their schoolyard, a full-size field. And with just the 2 full-size fields, we can support, like 16 teams in like a U15 and above, which play on those fields. The more fields, obviously, the more teams we can support. And then the younger kids play on smaller size fields that obviously would fit ASU, Nautilus, Starline, all those fields could fit there. Nice thing about tournament play is, the tournaments, most of the games happen during the day. If we get a lot of teams, then we kind of extend into the night. I think we went into the night a little bit this last year. So it's not super imperative that all the fields end up getting lights. But I think if you talk to the people along Cypress, which I have, because for the last 2 tournaments I walked the neighborhood just to let them know, hey, there's going to be a lot of people here. If you got any questions, give me a call on my cell phone. And you know, a lot of them came back to me and said, you know what, we went to the meetings, we were against the lights at Cypress, we were fighting them, but now that we've seen how it's implemented, we love it. You know, it doesn't light up my front yard, doesn't light up my backyard. I can sit back there, I can still see the stars, and the kids are over there playing soccer. So I think Cypress is a good exemplar to the rest of the community to say, you know, this is how lights can be done correctly if we do light something, and go from there.
Is there any restrictions on a city giving away services like that to outside groups?
Giving away services as far
As
as,
far as going out there and, you know, they said they'll stripe the fields and that's
yes, we do
cost
not.
the city.
Correct. We do not waive fees.
And
And so we do have a fee structure that we follow.
And
I realize that,
I will
but is
say
there
that
any government says that that's actually a gift to somebody? You're giving away services if you waive the fees?
You wouldn't really be gifting. You would be waiving. And we just, as a guideline, currently do not waive any fees.
And let me be clear, I have no intention of taking the tournament anywhere else. The fees that the city charges when compared to fees that clubs in Phoenix pay for complexes like Reach 11 or Scottsdale Sports Complex, I'll happily pay what the city's asking. And, you know, I've got all my own paint and striping equipment. I take a few days off and I do the fields myself. So it's no huge deal for me. That what I'm getting at is if you spend $20 million building a bunch of fields down at Sarah, you're going to want to realize some sort of recoup some of those costs quickly. And there's a couple things that come into play. There's only 2 soccer clubs in town. The state says one soccer club can only host 2 tournaments a year. So that would be a maximum of 4 tournaments you could have in Havasu hosted by the local clubs. And the other issue is that tournament calendar is booked from September till May. So, you know, in order to get our spot in there, we had to wiggle in and kind of do some fast talking with the tournament committee to get a date. But those dates don't open up very often because most of the big clubs in Phoenix that have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 kids in their club, they pull a lot of weight. So, so even with 4 maximum, you know, the economic impact of 4 tournaments, 4 soccer tournaments, it'll take you decades to recoup that, I think.
Have you hosted any tournaments there at Cypress?
Yep, both our tournaments we've hosted at Cypress. We did one in the spring of this last year and then another one in the fall of this last year.
And your feedback's really good for that area, those fields and that?
Oh, the fields at Cypress are awesome.
Okay.
They're some of the best fields in the state. And the guys that maintain them are awesome to work with, and yeah, they do a great job of maintaining those fields. I'm you know, I can deal with yellow grass as long as the field's flat and the ball's not bouncing around when it's rolling across the ground. Those fields are nice and flat. It's like a billiard table out there, so I love it.
So that would be, if we do build other ones, that would be a recommendation, like
Cypress. So if you're going to go to the school fields and make them what I call safe and playable, it's kind of a term that the tournament committee uses. You know, you want something, a reasonable facsimile of that.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to add a comment or maybe throw out a theory to what Mr. Miller was just mentioning about Bullhead's proposal. The Mojave Daily News reported after their last tournament earlier in February that the revenue brought into the surrounding area was over $3 million for just that weekend. And how many teams are?
They had about 200.
Okay. So I just, and goes back to what I brought up again last month too, is not only do we have the opportunity to make great places for all of us that live here to enjoy, but it's also a wonderful economic opportunity for the city and for local vendors. I know I was in Bullhead at the tournament for the weekend, and I visited many of the local places and spent money. So I just hope that we do see that as an opportunity in the very near future, and it would be, I like the idea of partnering with our school district as well. Be a benefit for all.
And the other piece of that is, I know, because I know the tournament director for AYSO up there, and when they publish those numbers, they include Laughlin in that. So they're including all the, because pretty much everybody stays in Laughlin when they go to that tournament. So, you know, in Havasu, there isn't really any other place to stay than Havasu unless you're camping. So, so it would really have a larger impact here than say it does for Bullhead City proper.
Any other questions for Mr. Miller? Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Appreciate it. Thank you for the input on our Cypress Park. All right. Moving on, teen break update.
Okay, so Teen Break again will be held March 12th through the 14th. We have received over $10,000 in donations for the program and for scholarships. So thank you to the community for really stepping up and helping us fund this event. Registration did open today, and we had over 20 registrations just today. While that number sounds a little bit smaller in comparison to our spring break camp, traditionally the teen break numbers come in the week of. So no alarming there. I do still expect over 800 youth to be there. The staff has put together a great program. We're going to utilize more of the beach area and really highlight down towards the lake a little bit of more of Havasu. So they've put together a great program and really looking forward to it. And it'll be here in 2 weeks, which is kind of alarming. it is here.
All right. Anybody have any questions, comments on that? And go right ahead.
Okay. Did you talk about how it will be set up? Are there barriers on both sides?
Correct. It'll be on the southern end of Rotary Park, and we'll barricade off pretty much at the wash on the northern end, and then up by the skate park for the southern end. We will be utilizing the skate park on Wednesday, but the skate park will be open Tuesday and Thursday of that week while we're there as well. But we'll move our barricades so the skate park can stay open to the general public during that time. But we will have it closed on Wednesday for some events and activities there.
Okay, no more question. And how does someone find out about the scholarship? How do they ask for that or apply for it?
They can ask for it at time of registration.
Okay. And is there an application process or okay?
No, just some conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Call to the public. Anybody public like to speak on this matter? All right. We'll move on. Future agenda items. Anybody have anything to add to the agenda? Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. I would like to, April 22nd is our next meeting. So that's the start of the National After School Professionals Appreciation Week. So I know this can't really be discussed now, but maybe if we could prepare for a discussion at that meeting about something that we can do as a board to recognize the after school staff and show our appreciation.
Perfect. Sounds good. And Mr. Keel, your wheels are spinning.
No, I just had a question for Ashley. So our next meeting is in March, and you said that. Okay.
Thank you. I looked at the April 22nd meeting and thought, oh, my timing's off. So you're right. So at our meeting, we can have a discussion that will be a little bit more comprehensive about what we can do the next month. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Mr. Fung.
Mike, as you said, the meeting for this capital improvement is going to be before our next meeting, right? So can we get an update of that meeting?
Yeah, those will be ongoing on our agenda. They'll
Okay.
stay
So
there.
Do you think the costs will be back from the engineers by next
That they're supposed to have them back mid-March, yes.
Okay.
All right. And then, we don't have anything else to add to that. Future meetings.
Future meetings, March 25th and April 22nd.
Perfect. All right. And
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.